Okay, so it's obvious that the Downtown South project and Shaw go hand in hand. They have the same attorney. Urban Land Institute did the study at the same time. And I don't know why anybody's taking advice from Urban Land Institute. Their recommendation is Shaw, and you can pull up the News and Observer, Land Rich Cash Poor story. It said liquidate 75 acres worth of land and property to get $5 to $10 million to pay down on your $22 million debt. No land, no money, no property, and still in debt. And we will be at the mercy of Downtown South. That isn't downtown. It's just an attempt to monopolize. Next slide, please. Who's paying all of these people? That's probably more people than faculty at Shaw University right now. I'm wondering if the same people in Downtown South is paying all these people. Dr. Dillard said the other day, we're not being absorbed, but you saw what they want to change from an institution to the Central Raleigh Business District. That's not what Shaw University is. Our charter states that our land is to be used for educational purposes. That's in the charter. You have Kevin Sullivan up there. He said, we believe all of Shaw's historic buildings should be relocated. That's exactly what he said. And then he started talking about the city of Raleigh needs a parking lot, and that the parking lot can go right next to Leonard Medical School. It's all on tape in case you try to deny it. So in case you were wondering, Councilmember Black, if you want the buildings moved, they will be damaged so they can be moved. Next slide, please. This is part of the problem that folks say policy, but this is part of the problem that we've had for 30 years. That's a Shaw University trustee who's having property seized from his home. He's still on the board. Would he be on any of your university's boards? Next slide, please. This is a recent complaint. And in addition to that, just in February, you can look it up. I'll send you all the document. Matter of fact, it might be in those papers right there. He had a default judgment, $500,000. So again, this is the problem with Shaw. The school isn't broke, its trustees are broke. And they have used Shaw as piggy bank for years. Next slide, please. This is where Willie Gary is saying, pay Joe Bell $10,000. One trustee saying to the VP of Fiscal Affairs, give another trustee $10,000. Next slide, please. This is Dr. Dillard saying, when we sell WSHA, we're going to be all digital, state-of-the-art, all new studios. She hasn't done any of that. As a matter of fact, one of the documents I gave you is a lawsuit from Dr. Emeka, who filed suit against Shaw University. He was fired because
Please try to leave some time for other speakers.
Well, this is our time. So there's a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit from Dr. Emeka against Shaw University because he would not sign an audit from Shaw University's auditors, BDO. It's in there. He said the budget is $250,000. The audit is saying the budget was $800,000 with paid interns that the university never had. Next slide, please. Shaw University is not broke. This is where they went in with Durham County Stadium to pay $2.5 million. Meanwhile, we have 35 acres, one turn down MLK, down Rock Quarry, 35 acres of land. Next slide, please. That's again, Shaw had his first game in Durham. And again, this is because Chairman Joe Bell created Bear Sports Marketing where he was getting paid from the parking. Next slide, please. That's our land on Rock Quarry Road right now. So Shaw could spend money to put people in T-shirts, but that's what they think about our property, and that's where our historic buildings will end up. Next slide, please. That is a Bible on the ground, and yes, that is feces in the building because it's squatters, prostitutes, and all that good stuff on Rock Quarry Road. Next slide, please. This is my good friend and fraternity brother, Dr. Linwood Brown. He's came over here twice to meet with Chairman Joe Bell and offered to bring $150 million in medical research. Shaw is saying you can't get money off of tuition alone. You can't get money off of no tuition. There's currently an empty dorm costing $5 million a semester. This man has offered to bring $150 million in medical research. He works with 3 different governments, and he wanted to implement a physician assistant program. Next slide, please. That's Keisha. I just gave y'all her resume. Next slide. but these are the people that she has worked with, has contacts with, and you would think that any other university would hold her in high regards, but not Shaw, because the gatekeepers don't want alumni like her or Dr. Brown in there to actually bring resources to the school. So it's not about Shaw being broke, it's about trustees being broke and putting in presidents in place that allow them to continue to rob the piggy bank. Is there another slide? Yep, that's my neighbor, Bishop Dunn, right across the street from me. When I moved in, he was teaching me how to grade my land, because if you need a little policy, we do get flooded in Southeast Raleigh. And that's him on his roof, trying to trim the branches, because he said, God forbid, if it floods and the tree fall, he wanted to fall away from his house. So next slide, is there another one? That's the leak coming in his house from the flooding that we get in Southeast Raleigh. Is there another slide? Oh, yeah, that's the Pope house that was damaged because of construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary, would you come up and take 2 minutes?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. It's a pleasure to speak to you tonight. Wow, that's a tough speaker to follow, but I will do my best.